Here we go again. Big body bend. Cut off all my friends. Choppers for my enemies. Going as the streets about little Dominique, I've been a beast. Really got my name for
What's good, YouTube? So on this one, I'm going to be installing BC Racing coilovers on my 335xi. It's going to be a little bit of a different video. The commentary is going to be from my PC, but let's get into it.
Always said it, little baby. We gotta go choppers is full. Way before rapping, oh God, I was trapped. Sneaking my Glock in my floor.
So in the clip that you guys are looking at right here, we left the front suspension at whatever it was out of the box from BC, but it ended up not being low enough. So I forgot to say this in the beginning of the video, but the person installing the coils once again is Chino Built Performance in Opelika, Florida. As you guys can see, he banged it out mad quick and he made all the adjustments that I wanted the same day. So if you guys need any suspension work, definitely hit up my boy Chino. So Chino banged out the front on my car in less than an hour, and it's honestly crazy considering the fact that my car is all-wheel drive and a couple of the bolts are rusted. But now we're moving on to the rear of the car. So what Chino is doing on this clip is for the rear struts on the BCs. It tells you not to use the factory bushing, but as you guys can see, it has the two little washers, and I was getting a clunk in the rear, so I guess thank you to Chino for his knowledge, but he put the bump stop, you could say, from the factory strut, and I have no clunks now and it rides amazing.
Jeez, it's like a sandstorm. Man, wrap that shit in.
So for the rear, we went with no adjustments out of the box either. That ended up not being low enough. Same issue with the front.
I've been through more shit this month than a nigga been through in a lifetime. Cut a few niggas and bitches up. They were just wasting time. I ain't fine, but the girls is out. I'm just gonna read my mind.
So I'll show you guys some better clips of this at the end, but pretty much what we did was we put the extenders on the rear coilovers, the damper adjustment extenders, and what we ended up doing was drilling a small hole in the carpet so you can still adjust the rear coils with everything in the trunk. So as you guys can clearly see, the stock suspension was clapped to shit and it was rusted out due to the car being up north. And while we had the car on the lift, I went ahead and pulled off the underglow as well because it got cut from me running the 19-inch wheels, but that's a story for another day.
I think we can go a little lower in the back.
Alright you guys, so after the third round of adjustments, we're pretty much ready to pull the car out. So now you guys are going to see a bunch of footage of what the car looks like rolling, my new fitment, and And yeah, I'll do a overview for you guys at the end and outro. Alright you guys, so I just washed the car the other day. That's why it looks really clean. But this is about a week after the coilover install. And I just wanted to show you guys pretty much how the car is sitting after it's settled. So pretty much this is how the car sits right now. Let me show you guys the front fitment. A lot of you guys on TikTok have been saying I can use a spacer in the front, and you guys aren't wrong. The car probably could use a little bit of a spacer in the front. That's what the front fitment looks like. Let me show you guys from the front angle. So yeah, it's a little bit sunken in. It could use a spacer, but honestly, it looks so much better than the wheel gap that the car had before. And then this is the rear fitment for you guys. So the reason why I couldn't tuck tire in the rear is because my fender isn't rolled. So as you guys can see, look, the tire will literally rub unless I get the fender rolled. And even then, these wheels are still a little bit wide for an E92 non-M. The rear wheels were E90 or E46 M3 specs, so I'm trying to make them work. So the next thing I might do is add some camber arms, just to, because the car does have a little bit of natural camber right now. I'll show you guys, but it's nothing crazy. So like for some reason my 6 series isn't as low as this car, and there's more natural camber. But yeah, like you guys have seen in the rollers, the front of the car is sitting mad low now for you guys. So look, I'm gonna just put my slide underneath. Look, you can barely put a foot underneath the front lip. So yeah, and what I really wanted to show you guys was the trunk setup. So let me go ahead and open the trunk for you guys right now. But pretty much what I wanted to show you guys in the trunk, let me get the flashlight on. As you guys can see right here, I have the hole drilled out for the adjuster. So if I need to adjust it, I can adjust it right there. And I have the same thing sticking out right here. I was gonna do it a little bit lower, but then the tension on it wasn't letting it adjust. So yeah, that's why I drilled high on both sides. So I can adjust the rear and the front, because the front's just on top of the strut tower. But yeah, that's the one thing I wanted to show you guys with this install I didn't get the day of. The trunk adjustments are like OEM plus for you guys. But now let me talk to you guys a little bit about the ride quality. I'm honestly really happy with the way the BCs ride. Considering the fact that my stock suspension had 140,000 miles of New York City roads, the BCs definitely feel like night and day, even though the car's a lot lower. As far as stiffness, I started off with, I think, 16 clicks in the front, 18 clicks in the rear. And if I show you guys now, my front is really slammed because the car is on 17s. So it does make the car sit really low to the ground, as you guys can see. So the front, I had to adjust the stiffness to 20 clicks and the rear still at 18. But with that, adjusting the stiffness, my front lip doesn't scrape the ground on every highway bump, because if you guys look at the rollers, you can see the car wiggle, but the rollers are after I adjusted it. But I might even go stiffer in the front, who knows. Also been eyeing a couple different wheel setups, so yeah, might be some different wheels coming on this car in the future. But for now, I'm really happy with the BCs, the way they ride. And one thing for you guys to know, I mentioned it earlier in the video, but if you don't want your rears to clunk on the BC, I know a lot of people have that issue, you guys need to use the rubber bushing from your factory suspension, whatever, I think it's the top mount or whatever, but you guys need to use the rubber bushing in between the two washers on the rears on this car, and it'll literally ride like a dream, and you won't have any clunking noises or anything like that. But with that being said, that's gonna wrap up this coilover install / review, and we'll get back into the B-roll for you guys. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. A lot more E92 content on the way.
Swerving a Cayenne in a rain. Big body tongue, what the fuck that shit insane. Man, big body, with that body, new bling bling. I got this, I beat it, I got with it in my man. I don't need nobody, I know how to fly the plane. Went to NYC and party, easy on the train. I done got to the high, never feel like I'm a crane. Big body tongue, man, baby, swerving through these lanes. I'm in the tongue of the G6, having beef, better move with this one. I'm in love with the guy, yeah, so get it up over that butt. You want to need how none of them other babies and I put it in over your work. All that money that go crazy, it's my money, money twerk. Yeah, big body talking, man, back like go berserk. I got trapping in these guns and I pull up and I lurk. Dragging everybody Lucas and I'm in a network. Yeah, look crazy, put that on you, you getting murked. I got plays I can share with nobody. Chesney and that Trizzy, get a policy on mommy. Deals, I need deals, and they not getting off of me. Mulling out my future man, saying like a battery. Yeah, and they Drizzy, and that Twizzy, kick up state.